People have said, "Oh, Benny Hill doesn't belong to be on the television in today's day and age." You know, we have different values. He wasn't woke. It was sexist comedy. It was, he used to black up everything that the modern generations don't like. But I would suggest this will be nostalgic for a lot of people who used to enjoy his shows. And if you don't want to watch it, don't.
I think that's our view. Look, our position on this is that nearly any content that's made pre-2020 reflects the society in which it was created. And books that are written reflect the society at the time. The same for film and TV. And if you're going to be an archive TV channel, which we are, then you will actually find even very recent TV history and programming that some people will take offence at. But continuously, as an archive TV channel, we get people talking to us, telling us what programs they want to watch, and we often really welcome that sort of feedback, and we take it on board all the time. But there was one program that you said forms the backbone for us at Christmas. Look, it just constantly got repeated to us when we were talking to people, to the point we couldn't really ignore it. I mean, even just when I and my team talked to people at comedy clubs and at the pub, Benny Hill kept coming up. I do think it's hit a bit of a nerve that we've now brought it back.
When I lived in America, everywhere I went, people would say, "Do you like Benny Hill?" They love Benny Hill in America, don't they, Daniel?
Look, it's part of our nation's cultural history, but it's also part of the history that our nation's famous for, whether we like it or not. And look, you may not like it, but that doesn't mean you should just pretend that it didn't exist or delete it from history.
I totally agree. Leo, I mean, for all the faults that people might find with Benny Hill in today's climate, I mean, I remember watching him as a kid. And the thing about Benny Hill was he just was a funny guy, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was a funny show. And yeah, I watched it. I mean, I think it was cancelled in 1989 originally. So yeah, I mean, I watched it when I was a kid, when I was at school. We did all the silly walks in the playground and stuff. And I mean, people call it sexist, but Benny was always the butt of the joke. The women were always elevated above him. He wasn't punching down at women. He was always the idiot, the gormless, hapless idiot chasing after them, and they were, making fun of him. So, he wasn't. It wasn't in any way sort of misogynist. I can understand, people saying it objectifies women, but I mean, men objectify women. That's just nature.
What usually happened, Leo, in those chases was that you go da, 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 and then there'd be a bloke or maybe a couple of guys chasing a bevy of scantily clad babes around, da, 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 and then at a certain point the chase would stop and the women would turn round and then start chasing the blokes. So
Yeah,
he
yeah.
did always turn the tables, and in the end, I mean, I can understand why people today might object, but it's difficult to take it too seriously. I mean, he wasn't trying to put out some political message; he was just trying to be
Yeah.
funny on an almost clown-like basis, wasn't he?
Yeah, and to judge to judge, the stuff of yesteryear by today's morals and today's standards, or the morals and standards of a narrow sliver of society. These sort of liberal elites who seem to have taken it upon themselves to become the moral guardians for us. The milk monitors. I think that's ridiculous. And what are we gonna remove all Shakespeare plays from schools because he wasn't an intersectional feminist? I mean, where does this stop?
Exactly. Daniel, what do you think that the magic, you said that your viewers have called more than anyone else for the return of Benny Hill. What is the magic of Benny Hill?
Look, you talked about nostalgia, and I think part of it is the quality of the programming, but part of it is just we were all brought up with it. It ran for 4 decades, half on the BBC and roughly half on ITV. We all have memories of watching this programming when we were growing up and enjoying it with families. There's an element which I think bringing back nostalgic programming, especially after the last 18 months when there was a surge in interest even in nostalgic food, just because of the memories that it evokes. I think part of it is that people loved watching the program when they were younger, and I think part of it is actually remembering who they were watching it with and enjoying those memories.
But in itself, Daniel, I mean, you know, I can't say that I've watched any of the shows on your channel yet, but I will do. But from memory, I mean, a lot of it, you know, that you couldn't take too seriously, but in a sort of slapstick, in your face kind of a way, it just was pretty funny. I mean, particularly I remember watching it as a kid. Kids used to crack up watching Benny Hill.
Look, nearly all humour, the key word is it's a joke. You're not meant to take it seriously. It's a joke. I totally understand that it's not for everybody, but look, there are programs that haven't appealed to me yet, although I'm sure they're very creative and well produced, like Squid Game. You know, it's not my cup of tea to sit down and watch people being killed as entertainment. I think that the nature of the world we live in today is that there's room for an archive TV channel that allows people to form their own opinions. And I don't really think we're here as a broadcaster to patronise people and tell people, you know what, it is actually wrong to pat short, bald guys on their head. I think people actually know the difference between right and wrong, and they understand when they're watching a joke.
I'm tempted to say, do you ever get slapped on your head, Daniel?
Yeah, I wanted to ask.
Seriously, what else can we watch, Daniel, on your channel? That's TV.
So look, I mean, one of the things that was, I suddenly discovered today that Arlene Phillips is on another channel, and I'm a Celebrity. I think there's a whole load of people watching there that won't know that she was famous for a dance troupe called Hot Gossip, who were on the Kenny Everett show in the late 70s and early 80s. So we're bringing back all of those original Kenny Everett shows. We've got a whole load of Tommy Cooper shows.
Brilliant.
Another show that hasn't been on British TV for actually coincidentally also 19 years, exactly the same amount of time as Benny Hill's been off air on any TV channel, is Beatles About.
Yes.
Again, it's a different type of humour, but it's a show that a lot of people, when you talk to them about it, they remember the sorts of stunts on that show, a hidden camera show.
And we can find That's TV, or it's called That's Christmas TV at the moment, isn't it? Or That's TV Christmas. Is that what is that on, like Sky and?
No, it's on Sky. It's on Freesat, and in the vast majority of the UK, it's on Freeview.
Leo, Tommy Cooper. Daniel's just saying he's going to bring his shows back. Tommy Cooper, funniest man who ever lived.
Not quite the funniest man who ever lived, but definitely really funny. You know, him and Benny Hill. I mean, Tommy Cooper would kill in the clubs now. He was just a naturally funny guy. And for all these woke people saying, "Oh, we should have more woke comedy," there's loads of woke comedy out there. It's
just
like
not funny.
Yeah, it's like women's football. It gets written about a lot in the Guardian, but it's terrible.
Well,
and nobody
you're
wants
on
to
dangerous
watch it.
ground there, Leo.
Just let people vote with their remote controls, and I bet Benny Hill gets more viewers than Nish Kumar. You know,
and fully deservedly so. But Daniel, as I say, he's right, isn't he? He's offering people the choice of something they want to watch. So if people want to be offended by Benny Hill on the That's TV channel, here's the solution: don't watch it.
Yeah. If only people could do that these days, instead of having to have an opinion about stuff for other people.
Yeah. What do you think about this, Daniel? This kind of moral Praetorian guard that seem to stand watch over everything that goes on the telly. You know, for example, the ridiculous cancellation or the attempts to cancel virtual episodes of Fawlty Towers recently. It's just ridiculous, isn't it?
Look, we didn't set out to be an anti-cancel culture TV channel. We just set out to be a TV channel that will put smiles on people's faces at Christmas time and other times of the year. I think we've almost accidentally found ourselves this sort of anti-woke channel just by the nature of the some of the content that we've had demands to show. Look, I think there's an element to which broadcasters are inevitably a small c conservative. All of us, we're all guilty of it. We all look at the ratings. We all want to copy each other. That means if something works on one channel, another channel wants to do it 6 months later. We all become quite samey. I don't know if initially, I mean, we know Benny Hill was cancelled. No question, he fell out of fashion. But I don't know. Look, he was repeated for a few years. I just think a few years became a few more years. And then some of the schedulers today took a view I mean, frankly, I've met people, I just mentioned Kenny Everett, I've met people who work in TV who don't know who Kenny Everett was, and there's no reason why they should. He was a Capital Radio DJ in the 70s and 80s. and had a BBC show then. It just hasn't been shown for a long time on most mainstream TV channels. So look, I think there is an element to which there was an attempt to cancel one particular episode of 40 Tales. I don't think it lasted that long. But I think there's an element to which broadcasters today are quite conservative. Look, we had to make a decision. Are we going to buy roughly 40 hours of TV programming that has not been shown for 2 decades? That's quite a substantial investment for a digital TV channel to make. And we made it quite boldly and with confidence. But I understand why the TV schedulers, who are always worried about the latest ratings and all sorts of criticism that they might get, might not take that decision.
Sure. So, Leo, you're going to be watching the Benny Hill show at Christmas?
If I can find it on Freeview, I just find it's finding stuff on Freeview. There's too many channels now. You know, no offense, Daniel, but yeah, you need to whittle that down. Even Netflix, like trying to find something to watch on Netflix, you just end up watching like Rick and Morty for the like 198th time.
Yeah.
It's impossible to find stuff that's worth watching. So maybe I should find this channel. It's got all the classics from my childhood, you know.
Yeah, no, I think so. Yeah, I think so. I'm going to be looking out for it, Daniel. Congratulations on bringing it back. Sounds like you've got some great shows. Leo, great to talk to you as always. Daniel Kearse, Leo Kearse, thank you for your time.